Welcome to Galactic Explorers with your intuitive channelers, Daniella and Dallas, myself, where you're going to get your alternative thought fix with the joyride through earthly, spiritual, metaphysical, scientific, and everyday topics explored with the galactic perspective. I can talk, I promise. Words come out of my mouth. Today we're going to do a bowl pool.
Yeah, bowl pool.
We got some new topics in. We got the bowl filled up a little bit, so hopefully we're gonna pull something that will get your brain
all twisted. Excellent.
right. All right.
That's what we like to do around here, twist brains around.
Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, what are your thoughts on jumping timelines? Has anyone else ever experienced this?
Oh, good one. Good one. Frank and I talk about this a lot. So
yes.
This will be good.
I like
this one.
A very good one. It's a very, very, very good one. All right. Welcome to Galactic Explorers. All right. So, have you ever jumped a timeline? What's a timeline?
Yeah, all the time.
Well, maybe let's start with what is a timeline to you? It's a timeline.
Well, it's what you're playing out at the moment, right? Like where you're, what direction you're headed at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Which can, of course, peel off in any direction at any time, depending on the choices that you make in the moment, at any given moment.
I like it.
So one could say you're constantly changing timelines, perpetually, automatically.
Right. How do you know you're changing the timeline?
Personally, for me, it's like noticing the little things that are different. Because it's almost like you're in a different reality. It's very similar to the one that you were in 2 seconds ago, but there's little things that are different about it. Like we were talking about it yesterday. The trees seem greener than they were even earlier in the year. And I mean, like, not just because, it was winter and, there were no leaves on the trees, but it's like, and even from the leaf maturing, it changing color, it does that, yes, but it's almost like recently, over the last few days even, it's been even greener. Oh, what's this all about, right? Like little things where it's like almost imperceptible, like new markings popping up overnight, or like your eye, some things about like your eyes changing color, things like slight little differences where it's like you're more or less the same, but there's little things where like little inconsistencies, or where it's like incongruity from what you remember. It's like the whole Berenstain Bears thing, right? At least for me, that's kind of how it shows.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Frank and I kind of talk about this all the time. The whole idea where it's like, I could have just died in that, in a car accident right there, but I didn't because I hopped timelines.
Ooh, there you go. Right. Or changing. It's like changing your perspective is changing direction of, what your life was going on to, I want this alternative way.
Right.
A different perspective.
Right. So how do you change timelines? What does it show for you?
Frequency. I noticed the difference of frequency is different. Where I'll catch it because it feels totally different. So I will just go, oh wait, something feels different. Something feels not like it was 5 minutes ago, or maybe even in the next day. It's like, oh, this is, of course, it's a different day, but it's the energy and like the people, everything is just totally different. Where like even outside sources of someone has totally like did a 360 almost,
That's very true. That is
you
a
know, and it's like,
huge
oh,
sign of it.
right. Like,
Huge
am
sign.
I in a different world? Like, you ever caught yourself saying, like, oh, I'm on a total different planet right now? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, kind of.
Maybe we are.
I am a little bit, because I think wherever your energy and frequency I'm on, and I'm making those changes or whatever, it
Mhm.
aligns to where I'm at, or
Right.
where I need to be at as well, too.
Right.
So it kind of goes either way, where I need to be or where I am making the effort to do it. And so that's where
Right.
I notice, like, oh, this is totally a different um wave that I'm on right now,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
I'm on a different timeline, different
Yep.
world
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah. I can actually think about like since you mentioned feeling it, a time there was an instance a few years ago that I was standing and looking at myself in the mirror and I kind of had my hands on the sink, right? And I literally felt myself like glitch shift to the right out of my body.
Mm,
I felt my body still standing there, but I went that blah, came
yeah.
back in. So it was
Mm,
like, oh, big jump of timelines on that one, where it's like literally pulled me out and tried to and like drug me back into a new one.
right. I've done that where I catch myself being ahead of myself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I bring myself back into like being present,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like that same shift of that frequency change of like,
Yeah.
oh wait, I need to be right here and not be, out in the future. It's
Shifted
just
out.
a
Yeah.
different timeline, like I'm trying to be way out there when I need to be right here, right now. This timeline, not get ahead of myself kind of thing.
That too. Yeah,
It's
because
another
sometimes
way.
like you can feel like you could play in the future timelines, like as you're exploring visually, like you can emotionally, put yourself in those timelines. And it's like that's a tool that people use as part of like law of attraction and, manifestation and things like that. So it's a
Mhm.
tool to use. But yeah, sometimes you can get a little too hung up in it and feel like you need to be doing that person versus yourself.
Right. Yes.
In a sense, like yeah, you're having it turns into almost a negative by accident, where you start to have certain expectations of where you're supposed to be now
Hmm.
in comparison to where you are in that future potential future like
Right.
version,
Yeah.
right? And then you start comparing them like as if then where you're at now is shitty, and then like it just like you could trip yourself up with that if you're not careful.
Oh
Totally,
yeah.
because I've done it like right, totally done it. And
Yeah.
that's a good point. But yeah, that is one of the ways that you can kind of feel forward, and then yeah, you feel yourself kind of coming back into yourself and you're like, oh yeah, okay, here we go, yeah, okay, like yeah, okay, write these notes down.
Right.
Right, here we are. Yeah, right, we're here, okay, we're here now, okay, back to
Right.
this timeline, okay.
Get over here now. Don't be over there
Right.
yet.
And it doesn't, yeah, it's like it doesn't mean that this won't lead to that, but it's like you don't know
Right.
how this is going to necessarily lead to that if you don't get back here to
Right. And
play it
if you're
out.
out there too long, then you miss all the steps or
Steps.
whatever what you're doing. You're supposed to be doing
Dude,
here.
can I just say that that has been like one of the biggest things that I've been realizing that I've been doing personally right now, as far as tripping oneself up and the thing, like the layers that you go through and what you catch yourself doing.
Hmm.
Dude,
I
I've
know.
been doing that so much.
I've been doing it too. Well, and I've been catching myself a lot.
Yeah.
Going, why am I way out there right now
Mhm.
when, I need to be in the present moment and stuff, but I'm mixing like that energy up with it, if that makes sense. Of
Oh,
like,
right. Right. Well, it's the sense that the only way you're going to miss the opportunity, like the only way you're not going to get there or some awesome version of there where you're like, visualizing, is that, like you said, if you spend so much time there that
mhm,
you're not here, to
Right.
see the
Yep.
opportunity and take the opportunities or inspirations that come to mind when you're here.
Mm-hmm.
That will lead you to there.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
you're focusing too much on trying to be there all the time, and that's the expectation, you're going to miss those things. Like they're going to go past you.
Mm-hmm. And even that goes, I think, backwards too, of focusing too much on the past,
Oh God, yeah.
of staying there
Yep.
keeps you in that stagnant, that
You don't
energy.
see the opportunities and you can't have the inspirations come to you in the
Yep.
now that will
Yep.
lead you forward
Yep.
because you're
Exactly.
spending too much time in that other time. Yeah. In that
Yeah.
other you or other timeline or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. Like the
Yeah.
regrets and all the things, constantly thinking about it. Or it's like, oh, well, now I'm never going to make it, or all of these things. It's like,
Right.
how am I going to get successful? Or like, what is success? Like, start drowning in all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And doing that and that spinning is what will what is it's like you running from your fear is what will create it
Right.
in that
Yeah.
sense. So it's
Yeah.
like by worrying about it and by spinning your wheels about it and trying to be so in the future or like worrying about what you did in the past, you're going to create in those cases like whatever in this case like maybe the failure that you fear or
Right.
like
You're
whatever.
already setting it up.
It's
Exactly.
like, or your
Yeah.
house is gonna look like shit, or like there's gonna be that thing that's like what you fear. Like that was a big one for us. We're talking about
Mhm. Yeah.
like the irrational fear that we have that like we're gonna be hoarders or something, and it's like, well, if we spend too much time worrying about the irrational fear of being hoarders and like what timeline that looks like, so we
Hmm.
don't do that. We're not spending time here doing the things that we need to do to make it not be hoarder.
Right. Well, then you create that energy, right? Of like,
Right.
you create it. You worry, you
Right.
fear about it. So you're going to go, okay, I'm just going to write this because that was my past and I am going to continue on with that. And you're
Because
like,
that's the
wait,
timeline I'm on, because it's,
right,
as if the timeline is generated from the past and not the now.
right. Because you feel, I think there's this, I mean, even
Yeah.
for us of aware, we still get tripped up of, we can still hold on to some past emotions or that frequency, and
Hmm.
it's just being aware of it and going, and we catch it and we have each other and all the tools, and it's getting out of it and it's going through the layers of it, but going, I don't have to be on that timeline anymore, I don't have to
Right.
be in that frequency anymore, I can
Right.
literally go,
Boop.
I'm over here now, right? And then it's a total
Right.
different energy. And I think you
Right.
mentioned it of the your mom and what the other side could have been like, right?
Right.
It's changing that timeline of what if this was this,
Right.
and
Right.
then connecting
Right. I
that
know what you're
to
talking
that
about. Right.
energy,
Right. Right. It's like, and
right?
you
So,
can do this with anybody where it's like, for instance, you have a past experience that you currently perceive as negative, or viewed as negative or whatever. It's like, and then you can recreate it. Like you can view the other timeline that you
right, that's
think you didn't experience, but you can view it and emotionally view it and
mhm,
go, okay, so what if this person had responded differently in these situations? What if this person was another version of themselves that I got to interact with? What
right,
would that create like what would that have looked like? What would that make me feel about this situation and this person now?
right, and creating that for yourself. I started
Right.
doing that.
It's like that's a tool to be able to
Um,
use the timeline view and shift, but yeah,
yeah,
so you
to
can
get
use it
on.
consciously. And that's the part of being like, I think when people talk about embracing your multidimensional self,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
That is a huge part of it, is being able to play visually and emotionally in those other timelines, both human and non,
yeah,
and see what lessons and things and perspectives that you can shift and share and switch and
hmm,
understand things differently from being able to view and access all those other quote unquote timelines. Right.
right. And it changes your frequency
Yep.
that you are knowing that you want to be on, and it makes it a little easier because you're like, that energy it's like time travel. It's like you're going to go back in time and you're going to switch some things up, and then you're going to ride this different kind of wave.
Right.
Right. It's just emotionally and visually, right? That's
Yep.
all we're really doing, because you're not really going back in time to
Right.
physically do it, but
Right.
visually
And
you can create
emotionally
that.
do it.
Yeah.
You will you'll land yourself in another timeline.
Right.
Offshoot of what you actually experienced, because it will, like you said, change your perspective of what you thought about it, which
Right.
changes how you feel about it,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
which changes how you relate to it,
Yep.
which changes your reality.
Right. So changing timelines is really
Yeah.
time traveling.
Literally, yeah, you're meant, yeah. And what's funny is that everybody can do it.
Yes, every single buddy. You just have to
Everybody can do it. It's like anytime you think about your past,
yeah,
you emotionally anchor yourself back there, positive or negative, and feel the feel of what it was like to be there. Like you and me, think about it. Think about sitting on that balcony in Hawaii overlooking that fucking beach. Think about it. Right?
Yep.
So we just popped a timeline to where our consciousness went and sat with ourselves when we sat on that balcony and recreated that feeling. And that's a positive use of it, of time travel.
Yep.
Versus doing it negatively.
Yeah.
Anytime you remember a thing like that,
yeah, holding on to it. Totally.
that's
And
you time traveling.
yeah.
In the way that you can physically without technology.
Right. Yeah.
But like everybody can do this kind of thing. I mean, and it does count, because you are shifting your emotion, you are shifting your personality, you're like changing your perspective, which changes the reality you perceive. Because we know, based off of those scientific tests, everybody knows this. Well, I mean, it should be common knowledge, and if it ain't, here you go. You can look this up. Is that science knows that a thing being observed changes the thing being observed.
Yeah.
The act of observing a thing changes the thing you're observing. Back and forth.
Right. And there's no right or wrong, right?
And there's right. And it's all valid, because it's all real.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you perceive it, and then that's how it will react. So it will be a different particle, or it will be a wave, depending on what you're feeling and perceiving it to be.
Ta-da!
No, seriously, shifting timelines in a nutshell.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
I want to say that spirituality has like made a bunch of things complicated. The spiritual community, bless them, they have served in so many ways to get so many people to change perspective and look at things differently and open, your eyes and your mind and your heart and all the rest of the good things. But there are some things that I have some gripes about.
Oh, really?
About the spiritual community. I love you guys, but sometimes y'all make shit more complicated than it is.
Yeah, way more complicated.
I hate to say it. And it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
Because everybody's doing this all the time already. And if they realized they would realize how powerful you are in the moment to be able to shift yourself via perspective and feeling at any given time.
Right. You could be listening to this right now in your car or in the bath or wherever you are, and you can just sit for a second and think and close your eyes. If you're driving, don't close your eyes, but
right.
Pull over, think for a second of something you would change in the past. Just close your eyes, like a moment of like high school or middle school. Maybe you were different and you stood up to somebody, or you valued yourself a little bit more, and then how would that look if you did it then and you brought it into where you are now? That's all you got to do. And you get that feeling and you go and you're on a different timeline. It's that fast. It takes maybe 2 minutes. 2 minutes at the tops. And then you're done. You're on it. You don't need a fucking guru. You don't need a bunch of herbs and crystals and shit and a circle and do this and that. It's not that complicated, which all that stuff I do on different things.
I was going to say, yeah, all that stuff, good, wonderful, valid for all of the, whatever you want to use it for. Like if you use it as a conduit and a tool to help you achieve that state of being because you think you need to or want to, knock yourself out.
Please.
Because it's not wrong.
No, rituals are great. I'm
Knock
all
yourself
about
out.
rituals.
Seriously, go for it. But it doesn't have to be complicated to understand the concept of what you're doing behind those rituals.
Right. Right. Because
like what the mechanism is behind it that you're actually working with, regardless of what tools like, that you're using to interact with it with.
Right. Because here's the thing. We came here with nothing on, and we're going to leave with nothing on.
So we have everything we need already. Boom!
Right in here. You don't take your crystals with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You can be buried with them, that's fine, but they ain't going.
But they ain't going with you. They ain't going with you.
The energy, but not the actual crystal. So
right.
Wrap your head around that and just think about that. And that's where you get to be your inner power, is because you brought in with it and you're going to take more of it with you, which you'll learn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
in a nutshell.
Yes,
I love you. That's it. All right, we're done here. Thank you guys for watching. That was wonderful. We love you guys. Like, subscribe, and share. Court is adjourned. Dallas has spoken a word upon it, and it is served.
I have spoken.
I second that motion.
Oh, I'm just kidding.
No, but really, I mean, that's as simple as it can't,
Yeah. No, it's good.
It can't be that simple.
It is, and I love it. I love that it's that simple, because I have been in that spiritual community and rubbed myself dry of, I can't do this. Was like, wait, I am doing this. I have done
already
this.
doing it. I do it all the time. It's natural. Oh shit, I don't have to learn to attract anything. Oh my God, we're gonna have to get into law of attraction.
We should do a big law of attraction.
I mean, I love law of attraction. There's nothing wrong with it. It's real. I mean, it's a thing, but the way that it got interpreted or continues to be interpreted and The Secret and things like that, I think is a little misinterpreted or misunderstood or mistranslated.
Right.
And I don't think maliciously or anything like that. I think it's just it comes through, whoever's filter. And so there's going to be different versions and translations of it. But I think there's like key components of that translation that are often missing to everyday people's understanding of it. So maybe said in a different way might help them grasp it better.
The big thing with law of attraction is,
do tell, lay a word.
People focus on materialistic things, which is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's I need this X amount of money
to be happy.
And I need
have
this
worth
car,
or to
and
show that it works, or yada.
And it's like, hold on, that's
yeah.
where the big misconception is. It's not all about money or fame or the material stuff you have. Yes, those things are great, and you can have those, and you can manifest them. But there's so much more to it.
Right. Agreed.
Emotionally.
Maybe we need, didn't we do a law of attraction one? Maybe we need to do this again.
We did. And we need to revisit that.
Maybe we need to revisit again. Yeah.
And maybe do another one.
Topic.
Yeah.
Especially if we're feeling super passionate about it.
We're going to get down to this. You're all going to be manifested motherfuckers.
Gosh dang right.
My notebook.
Right. Word has been served. And bird is the word. And the answer is 42, by the way, for those of you wondering. Which, if you're wondering, also breaks down to 6 numerologically. So that answers that for the rest of you.
Oh my God.
Oh God. No, but really.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. We can totally get into that more in another podcast. But it's, as far as the whole shifting timelines thing, it's you do it automatically. You do it when you are, like you said, thinking of another place in time, whether that's past or future, or whether that's alien, or whatever, multidimensional past
Yep.
lives. I mean, all of that stuff.
Oh yeah, Kashyyyks. Oh
I mean,
man.
we can't get started on that, or we'll be here for another fucking hour. I mean, but it's all that same kind of idea, is that you shifting mentally, emotionally through those timelines, sifting through them to see what you can find valuable to update your perspectives on things in a way that you would prefer to actually see and react and receive, and all the rest of that stuff, and then that applies itself to your current present moment life.
Yes.
As you go about it, because then you have to go back to going about it so that you can receive those inspirational moments, or those opportunities come to you through or by other people, or however way, so that gets you to that ideal state, or whatever that was that you were thinking about, or life lesson or result, right? Whatever that is. But it's like, as far as shifting timelines, I mean, you do it all the time internally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
So you're doing it all the time. You're doing it automatically. It's just about learning to do it consciously.
Yeah, totally being aware.
There you go.
Perfect.
The word has been spoken upon it.
The book is closed.
The library is closed for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for visiting. We do hope you had a lovely time. Like, subscribe, and share if you want to come back to the library. We'll be here for you on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, all the rest of the good things, right? Check us out.
Yeah.
We appreciate all your support. And if you have any questions or comments or all the rest of that stuff, you can always drop it down below, or reach us on any of those platforms. So have a great rest of your day, y'all. And we'll kick it with you next week.
All right.
Have a great
See you later.
day.